ready. You may call your first witness.
The people would call Anna Dworkin. Okay.
Ma'am, please come forward to be sworn. After me. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? All right. Please have a seat. Upon having a seat, please state and spell your name.
Anna Dworkin, A-N-A-D-W-O-R-K-Y-A.
All right. You may inquire.
And I did let the judge know that if there's any question that you don't understand or it's worded weirdly, that you can ask for it to be repeated and or reworded. Do you recall October 3rd, 2022?
Yeah.
And who were you with that day?
My son.
And were you with anyone else at any point in the day?
My daughter.
And anyone else?
Yes, Marcus.
Okay. And does Marcus have a last name?
Yes.
And do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And can you point to him and tell me something he's wearing?
Yeah.
And let the record reflect that this witness has made in-person identification of Marcus Jackson as the defendant.
Without objection, record shows so reflect.
And where were you that day when you were with Mr. Jackson?
In the house.
And where is the house?
1887 Francis Way, Superior Township, 481.
And do you know what county that is in?
Washington.
And how do you know Marcus Jackson? And if you could speak up just a little bit louder, that would be helpful. And what happened that day between the two of you?
I was getting ready to take my daughter to soccer, and upon arriving back home, Marcus came home, and we got into an argument. I had a phone in my hand that he was trying to grab. And then next thing I remember is us arguing, and then.
Okay, I'm gonna pause you right there for a second. And you said you had a phone in your hand. Whose phone was it?
Mine.
And do you know why Mr. Jackson was trying to grab it from you?
I would object, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
And Your Honor, I asked her if she knew, she had any knowledge. I didn't say why he was trying to grab it from her.
Overrule the objection.
You can answer the question.
No, I'm not sure, maybe it's so that, I don't know. He's broken my phone in the past, so I don't know.
Okay. And after he was trying, did he end up getting your phone?
I don't remember.
And after that, what happened?
I got grabbed, I was at the gym earlier, so I had a black collar t-shirt, and I remember getting grabbed by my collar and pushed forward and then back, and then I fell, face down, and I bruised my ankle.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you. So you stated that you got grabbed by the collar.
Yes.
And who grabbed you by the collar? And do you know why he grabbed you by the collar?
We were arguing.
And was this a heated argument?
Yes.
And at any point, did you touch the defendant?
No, I did not.
And where were you when this happened?
I was in when you first come into the house, front door, dining room, dining room. So first entrance of the door when you first come into the house.
And about how far away was Mr. Jackson from you when you were having this argument?
Close enough to grab me by my collar.
Okay. And you stated that after he grabbed you by the collar, he pushed you.
Yes.
Can you tell me how he pushed you?
Just push me back.
And was that you're showing for the record with one hand? Did he push you with one hand, two hands?
One hand.
And then you stated that you fell.
I fell face down.
Okay. And was there anything around you on the floor at that time that would have caused you to fall?
No, it's a hardwood floor, flat floor, there was no.
And was there anything that you would be able to trip over where you fell? And did you ask the defendant to touch you in this way? Did you ask him to push you? Did you give him permission to touch you in this way? And at this time, had you been drinking or using any substances?
I don't do that.
And after you fell, what happened?
I started crying, and then obviously, I noticed a bruise on my ankle, and somewhere else, I can't remember.
And at any point, did you call the police?
Yes,
And did you tell the police what happened to you?
not that day, but I did call.
And did you tell the police what happened to you eventually that day?
Yes,
And did they take any photos of you?
yes,
And did you take any photos?
yes.
Showing defense counsel people's proposed exhibits 1 through 5. 4, I'm sorry. 1 through 4. I'm missing one. Sorry, Your Honor. If you just have one moment.
Yes.
What are- I might approach the witness.
You may.
And if you could draw your attention to people's proposed exhibit 1, it has a little 1 in the bottom right corner. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that a photo of? Okay, okay, of your leg. And in particular, do you know when that photograph was taken?
This is, when I did call the police,
And do you know who that photograph was taken by?
Officer Bates.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of when you gave the police report of how your leg looked?
Oh,
Of how your leg looked when she took the photo? Okay. The people would move to admit people's proposed exhibit 1.
Any objection of what here?
Nope.
Exhibit 1 is admitted.
And can you look at people's proposed exhibit 2? And can you tell me what that's a picture of?
My leg, and I see a bruise.
And who took that photo, if you know?
The police.
And do you know when they took that photo?
The same day that all of these were.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate representation of how your leg looked the day that they took that photo? And the people would move to admit people's proposed exhibit 2.
Objection of what here?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
And if you could look at people's proposed exhibit 3 and tell me what that is? Okay, and that's your leg?
Yeah.
Okay, and who took that photo?
Officer Bates.
Okay, and that photo was taken the same day as the others?
Yeah.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of how your leg looked the day that the officer took the photo?
Yeah.
People would move to admit people's proposed exhibit 3.
Objection of what here?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Exhibit 3 is admitted.
And can you look at people's proposed exhibit 4 and tell me what that is? And who took that photo?
The Officer Bates.
And was that taken the same day as the other photos? And is that a fair and accurate depiction of how your ankle looked on the day that the police took that photo? The people would move to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 4.
Objection of voir dire.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Exhibit 4 is admitted.
And can you look at People's Proposed Exhibit 5 and tell me what that is? And can you tell me who took that photo? Okay, and
I've taken a picture myself as well, so this one I don't remember. That was me. I took that.
okay, you took that picture. Okay, and do you know when you took that photo?
When did it happen?
Okay, so October 3rd, 2022 is when you're stating that photo was taken?
Yeah.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate depiction of how your ankle looked on October 3rd, 2022? And did you give that photo over to the officers?
I think so.
Okay. And people would move to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 5.
Any objection of voir dire?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 5 is admitted.
And I would move to publish them to the
Yes,
court.
please. Thank you.
Actually, Your Honor, I do have a short voir dire.
It's already been admitted.
I don't object to it. Well, I'll just ask her the questions under cross.
Very, very good. All right, go ahead, Ms. Kerr.
And can you tell me the reason why you did not report this on October 3rd?
To be honest with you, I didn't want to. I think the main reason was, my kids, would always seem to, work it out or, so probably I just didn't want to.
And when you did make the report, why did you choose to do it?
I think because I was fed up and realized that it was time to speak up and not keep all this pride. And the main reason was because I was tired of being hurt and having my kids witness. So I think it's because I had a breaking point, to be honest with you.
And did anyone force you to make a statement to the police?
No, absolutely.
And did you do this, did you make a statement to benefit yourself in any way? Did you only make the police report to benefit yourself in any way?
No.
All right, no further questions for this witness at this time.
All right, cross-examination.
Ma'am, you said you were getting ready to take your daughter to soccer?
Yes.
And so what were you doing when Marcus came home?
I was on my way back home from soccer.
And you said that you were wearing a shirt that you had worn to the gym.
Yes, I had a black shirt and black leggings.
Could you describe the shirt?
It was a black t-shirt.
Just a regular t-shirt? Would it be like a V-neck t-shirt?
I don't remember.
Now, you said that he pushed you and it caught you. You said that he grabbed you by the collar and then he pushed you. Did he push you backwards?
Yes. He pushed me forward and then backward.
Okay. And so you said that you fell face down.
Yes, I did.
How did you fall?
I don't remember how I fell, maybe from the from the force of the way he pushed me. I just remember that my body was facing down the floor. I don't know how that happened.
And when you fell, what did you land on?
Hardwood floor, a flat hardwood floor.
And were there any objects on the floor?
No,
So how did you bruise your ankle?
by him pushing me down and hitting the hardwood floor.
So you hit your ankle on the floor?
I hit my whole body on the floor, but the main area that, from what I remember, hit the hardest was my ankle because I had no socks on, and I think my arm.
And ma'am, there was a picture that was admitted that you said you took. Do you recall that? The picture of your ankle that you just testified about? And you said that photo was taken on October 3rd
Yeah,
of 2022? And who took that photo?
the officer took photos and I also took photos of my own.
Okay, I'm talking about the photo that you took. You took it. And what did you use to take that photo? And do you still have that photo on your cell phone?
Yeah,
Ma'am, isn't it true that on October 10th, you were served with divorce papers? And isn't it true that you called divorce attorneys upon being served with those papers, correct?
Objection, relevance.
What is the relevant, counsel?
It goes to motive and credibility, Your Honor.
What day did she report?
October 10th, 20 minutes after she was served with divorce papers.
October 10th, I do not know what time the divorce papers were served. I have no proof of that. So I don't know what time it was, but it was October 10th.
All right. I'll allow it. Objections overruled. Go ahead.
You can answer the question.
can you please repeat?
Isn't it true that you were served with divorce papers on October 10th? And then you called a divorce lawyer?
Yes, I was looking for a divorce lawyer. Absolutely.
And it was after you spoke with that divorce lawyer that you called the police, correct?
I called the police, but the divorce lawyer has nothing to do with the reason I called the police for the assault.
Isn't it true that you told Marcus that the divorce lawyer told you that you would get an advantage in the divorce if you called the police for a domestic?
Objection, Your Honor. I would argue attorney-client privilege as to what she talked to her attorney about.
I didn't ask, these are comments she made to Mr. Jackson. So any attorney-client privilege she may have had was waived upon her telling Marcus what she discussed with this lawyer.
If she can answer the question, I'm going to overrule the objection on those grounds.
I did not.
So you did not talk to a lawyer?
I spoke with the lawyer.
And so you were getting ready to take your daughter to a soccer game?
Yes, she has soccer on Mondays and Thursdays.
And where was her soccer?
Independence Park in Canton, Michigan.
And ma'am, you said you used your phone to take that picture on October 3rd?
Yeah.
And do you have that phone with you today?
Yes.
Do you have it with you on the stand?
No.
Can you retrieve your phone? I would like to see the details of that
Yeah,
picture.
I have to go way back though, so I'm gonna need a few minutes.
That's okay.
An objection, Your Honor. She has been provided with the discovery of the screenshot of the phone. We have testimony under oath that she stated when she took that picture and who took that picture and where it came from.
Your Honor, the best evidence rule, if she has the electronic version of that picture in her phone, that will indicate the exact date and time that that picture was taken.
And as your Honor knows, the best evidence rule does not apply here. We are not in a contract civil situation. And as far as testimony goes, she's under oath and they have the photo in their possession.
The photo doesn't tell us the details
But
about
you
it.
didn't object to the photo, counsel.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I know.
I don't object to the fact that she took the photo. I'm asking her, I would like to know the exact date and time she took the photo. And that information,
Testified to that.
pardon?
She testified to that.
I'm asking her to look at her phone and see what time, the date and time that picture was taken.
I'm going to sustain the objection at this point.
Okay. Ma'am, isn't it true that the only reason that we're here today is because you want an advantage over Mr. Jackson in the divorce?
No, absolutely not.
I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. Any redirect?
No, your Honor.
All right, you may step down. Thank you, ma'am. Any additional witnesses for the people?
No, your Honor.
Any witnesses for the defense?
Yes, Your Honor, I would call Marcus Jackson to the stand.
All right, sir, please come forward to be sworn.
I would object to him taking any notes. If he needs to refresh his recollection, then his attorney can bring them to him.
If you need him, just let me know.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Have a seat. Upon having a seat, please state and spell your name.
Marcus Jackson, MARCUSJACK, S-O-N.
All right, may I inquire?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson, you heard Anna testify today that there was a incident that occurred on October 3rd of 2022. Do you recall that?
Her testimony.
And is that testimony accurate?
Date is inaccurate. I was actually at my mother's home. I believe that it took her the previous week. I also would agree that Melania has practiced Mondays. It's practice, not a game. Mondays and Thursdays. I'm actually the one that took Melania to practice, and upon my return is when the situation occurred.
So could you tell the court exactly what happened? Let's first of all, you said it was not October 3rd? Because on October 3rd, you were where?
I was at my mother's home in Lansing.
And so was there an incident between you and Anna when you were still at home?
Previous week, upon my return from dropping Melania off at practice, there was a situation. I do not understand what Anna was upset about. Anna was walking back and forth through the home in a rage is the term that I will use, walking through me on multiple occasions, 3, maybe 4 times walking through me.
What do you mean by walking through you?
She would walk, if I'm positioned here, she would walk directly towards me in an angle and like rub her shoulders, bump her shoulders through me as she's walking through, back and forth on multiple occasions.
And did you at any time grab her by her collar?
I did not grab her at all whatsoever.
So did there come a point in time where Anna fell?
She did. At one of the times that she was walking through me, I would refer to it as trip, resulting in her falling. And she tripped over my foot. I vividly recall that. In one of her times that she was walking aggressively through me, I leaned back like this, not in an attempt to trip her, but she did trip over my foot.
And do you recall when that happened?
In my mind, yes, I recall, I definitely recall the situation.
And what happened after she fell?
After she fell, I quite honestly, she fell forward this way, towards the windowsill, and I was concerned that she was going to hit the windowsill. I didn't want it in trip. She settled down, but she was still frantic as a result. And when I say she settled down, she no longer continued to walk back and forth through me. She settled down, but was still, cheering. And then at that point, I remember leaving the home. Milana was to be picked up from practice. I actually left the home and went to Lansing because I felt it was best for probably everybody in that situation because it was a testy situation.
So you said that she was raging. What do you mean by that?
So Anna is with so many amazing qualities, but at times she has challenges controlling her emotion. And I do not recall exactly what this was at that time that she was upset about. But she was certainly upset. She was upset with me. It has occurred in the past, it has occurred in the future. And then she'll go back to the amazing person that I love and married from the very beginning. So when I use the term raging, she was extremely upset, extremely emotional, and going back and forth through our main entranceway to our home. That's it.
So when she said that you grabbed a hold of her collar, was that true? When she said that you pushed her, causing her to fall to the ground, is that true?
I don't know.
If you had done that, would you have taken a different posture in this case?
I would have accepted my fault, accepted my actions, which would hopefully have this determined where the judge would have made a decision a while back. I find myself in a situation where I cannot accept a plea nor plead guilty to something that I feel firmly was exactly the opposite situation that was presented to us prior to me coming up on the stand.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
So you gave a statement to the police about this incident, is that correct?
Correct.
And at any time, did you tell the police that the incident didn't happen that day?
I don't recall telling the police the exact date. I do recall telling the police that in a trip, I received a phone call from the police.
And did you tell the police what she tripped over?
I don't recall if I said my foot. I would say yes.
And if these were things that did not occur, wouldn't you think it would be important to tell the police your side of the story at the first time that you had the chance to?
I believe I did.
And so don't you think it would be important to tell them the exact date it happened?
I would think the date would have happened, but I don't know for certain if that date actually did come up in our conversation, the one conversation with the sheriff.
And don't you think it would be important to say that she actually tripped over your foot?
Yes. I do believe I did say.
I didn't ask you a question. And it's true that you did not explain to the police how damage was done to her knee or to her ankle, correct?
Correct.
And it's true that you stated you had no idea how she had any damage to her body at all.
I don't recall that.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Mr. Jackson, when the prosecutor was questioning you, had more to say. What more did you, what did you want to add to what you'd already said?
I guess in this situation, I'm struggling to remember what the actual question was, to be quite frank. I think it was regarding the conversation with the sheriff.
That is correct. And she asked,
Objection, Your Honor. Pleading, cannot say if it's correct or not. This is not a cross-examination.
Sustained.
it's a cross-examination of the
You can
prosecutor's
read-
cross-examination.
You can redo your question.
So, Mr. Jackson, do you recall talking to the officer that day?
I recall
Or do you recall talking to an officer?
the sheriff called me on what I believe is October 10th.
And at that time, do you recall him asking you how she got injured?
He asked me what had occurred. Read how she got injured as part of the conversation.
Nothing further.
Did, upon your talking to the individual you say is the sheriff, did you told them what happened, correct? You told them from your perspective what happened?
I did.
Okay, did you give them a date that you believe that it happened?
Your Honor, I believe that if it came up in conversation, I absolutely would have stated when I believed at the time.
Okay, so hold on a second. So what I'm trying to figure out is, you're talking about an event, right? And what date do you believe this happened?
I believe this occurred the last week of November. In my mind, it's November, excuse me, sorry, September. September 26th is the date that I believe that it occurred. And I had to go back through email messages that I had to confirm that. And I believe with all sincerity that October.
Did you talk to the officer about it being in September?
I want to say yes. And the reason that I'm delaying here is because it was so long ago. But I believe, speaking to the fact that it occurred the previous week, that was stated to me, yes.
So you're saying, I guess I'm going to be clear. Did you and the officers discuss a date this supposedly happened?
Can I expand a bit, Your Honor?
No, answer my question.
We discussed a time frame.
What do you mean a time frame?
What I mean by that is I explained to the officer that I had been at my mother's house for over a week. And the incident we were discussing happened prior to me leaving the home and going to my mother's house. So in my mind, that does establish a time frame. I don't believe.
So you told them about you being at your mother's house?
I'm struggling to remember.
No, that's not my question. You just told me. Did you tell the officer that you were at your mother's house?
Yes, I did not. I did not disclose my location, but I disclosed that I was away from the home, Your Honor.
You didn't say where?
He asked me where. I said I did not want to disclose where I was at. I did state that.
So hold it. You just told me, and I can play it back, but you just told me that you and the officer had a discussion about you being at your mother's house. Didn't you say that to me?
I did say that.
Now you're telling me that that wasn't your discussion.
Yes, I did not disclose to the officer my exact location. I explained that I was not. You're 100% correct, sir.
I know. Any questions based upon the court's questions?
Your Honor.